with PJ's Glass Creations, and it's time to start thinking about Christmas. And today, I'm going to show you how to make this cute bobblehead Santa. His head is a little wiggly. He's not technically a bobblehead, but his head is detached from the body, which gives him the illusion. Join me today, and I'll walk you through it step by step, and you can make one too. The first step is to cut out all of your pieces. And to make it easy for you, I have included all of the white pieces as well as all of the colored pieces in some attachments in the details of this video. So you can check there. And rather than waste all of your time watching me cut, I'm sure you'd rather be doing this yourself, I am going to skip that part and skip right to the part where I start assembling, and I will explain step by step from there on. Here I have all of my Santa face pieces, and the first thing that I need to do is I need to insert this wire so that it will let me allow for the head to kind of bend down so it's in front of the rest of his face, or sorry, in front of the rest of his body. So I have a 3-inch piece of wire, and I'm going to put it on the bottom part of his face, and I'm going to use this papyrus paper, or you can use thin fire paper, and I'm going to put it here just to protect that wire, because I do not want the beard sticking to the wire below this part here, and that'll make more sense once you see how we bend it down. And then I'm going to glue my beard in place, and I'm putting it approximately a third of the way, well, not even that, kind of close to halfway, a little bit less than halfway down his face. And because of that wire, it's not going to glue very well, but that's okay. Next, I need to put his nose. This is just 2 3/4 inch by 1/2 inch pieces of cream. I rounded the corners to make sure that it rounded well in the kiln, and I put it in for a full fuse. And we have his pieces of the beard. And if you look under the description of this video, you will see all the patterns for his face. Actually, for the whole thing. Goes that way. Next, I need to put his eyes on. I do have a tutorial on how to make eyeballs. So if you look at that, I'll have a link to that too. You can use these eyeballs for all kinds of things, but I really like Santa to have bright blue eyes. That looks about right. Next, I need to put his hat on. So I'm going to put it about there. Put the hat brim on. By the way, I'm using a super glue. You can use whatever works best for you. If you do use super glue, make sure it's not gel. Gel leaves a residue. Sometimes it'll leave black marks. And I'm just tucking this other part of his hat under here so it looks like it's kind of folded over. And finally, for his head, I need the pom-pom on the end of his hat. This is a 1/2 inch square that I put into the kiln on a full fuse until it rounded up. And it's stuck to my finger, sorry. And his face is ready. Next, I need to make his body. And on his body, we need to have the wire coming out of the bottom, and that will help adhere it to the base. And I'm also going to need his face wire here. And if you see, his head is way up above his body. That's just the way you want it right now, because you're going to bend it down to make it kind of look like a bobblehead later in the process. I'm going to cover these with the fur trim for his coat. So there's an upper fur trim. We're going to put his belt on. And then I have a lower fur trim. And that fur trim is going to be dual purpose. One purpose is just to look decorative, but the other purpose is it's going to hide this wire here and this wire here. Going to put his buckle on. This is a dichroic. You can use yellow or something if you don't have dichroic. And it looks funny just being a square, so I want to have a center to his buckle so it looks more like a buckle. And last, I need to put his shoes on. There's the base of his shoe. And I'm going to add the heel so it looks a little bit more like the soles of his shoes, like his feet are sticking up. And it is ready to go into the kiln. Actually, before I put it into the kiln, I want to edit this a little bit. I decided that his eyes look kind of naked, so I wanted to add some eyebrows. So I just did some little arches and then just glued them on there. It's totally optional, but I think he looks a little bit better with some eyebrows. Now, off for a tack fuse. My Santa's out of the kiln. You can see he looks kind of weird because he has this long wire for a neck, but we're going to fix that. And the first thing we're going to do is bend this wire forward. Then we're going to make a U shape, and you can see that the wire, because we had that placeholder in there with the thin fire paper, it didn't adhere to that beard part. It's only underneath the face part. We're going to bend this down and then bend his head up. And our Santa's done. You can see what it looks like on the side. And he's kind of a bobblehead. His head kind of was wiggly. And he is done, except I need to put him on a stand. For the stand, I have this wood slice. I got a package of them at Michael's. They do have a hole in the back. Well, actually, what's going to be the back for this. It's actually meant to make an ornament, I guess. I got them at Michael's last Christmas, but I've also seen them since then at some of the hobby stores. And I drilled, I don't know if you can see it very well, but I drilled a very small hole that's just about the size of my wire. And I am going to trim my wire a little bit and test it out. Make sure that his feet are sitting on the ground, but they're not. So I'll cut off a little bit more wire and try it again. And that looked like it worked pretty well. I'm going to use some E6000 and stick it on the wire and stick it in the hole. And he stands up. I'm also going to put a little bit of E6000 behind each foot, just a little dot. And that will also help to secure him. And my Santa bobblehead is done. Thanks for joining me in making these cute bobblehead Santas. If you liked this video, don't forget to hit like And you can subscribe and check out my other videos as well. You can also visit me on Facebook at PJ's Glass Creations, or you can see me on Etsy, pjsglasscreations.etsy.com. Thanks. Bye.